Welcome back to the Winded Podcast. Today, I have a very special guest coming all the way from Germany who's got a very, very amazing story to tell of resilience and passion, and it revolves around the game of tennis. Today, I have Elena Ladushyna on the show. Elena, how are you doing today?
Hi, hi. Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm good. Yourself?
I am great. Thank you so much. And I came across your page and, you put out the tennis content and I was like, oh, I would love to talk to a tennis player. I had no idea where you were in the world. So it was a surprise to find out that you were in Germany. So I appreciate you accommodating with the time change and everything. But then as we got to talking and I got to learn a little bit more of your story, I was like, there is so much here to talk about. So I'm very excited for you to come on and talk. Elena, why don't you tell people where you are from originally?
Yeah, right. So originally I'm from Ukraine, from a not very small city, but quite a small city called Kherson. It's on the south of Ukraine, so we're next to Crimea. And yeah, that's where I grew up and lived till 17 or 18. And then I moved to Kiev. And then was the start of the war. I moved to Germany, to Stuttgart, and have been here for 4 years.
So you grew up playing tennis at a very young age and you were on a very competitive path and kind of got burnt out by that. Can you talk about how you kind of, tennis is a game that you love, but you kind of fell out of love due to the external pressures that you faced?
Yeah. I think that's a very typical situation, especially in like Slavic countries. I don't really know much about Germany situation or general westernized, but like just a general sense about moods here. People don't want to go hardcore. They just do sports for fun. And if they struggle, they give up. So that's like very different to my culture, what I'm used to. And then, yeah, in my childhood, it was a lot of pressure, a lot of competition. You have to be the best. You have to give it all. Like Kherson is very, very hot city in summer. So we have like sometimes plus 30, plus 40 degrees months long. And then you just go in the court and play 2 hours. And before you run like 1 kilometer and after you run also 1 kilometer and nobody cares. Like, and if you don't perform, then good for you. And yeah, I was generally raised in a very, I don't know, demanding environment. So I was also like a very good student. I went to the best gymnasium in the city, and there was like best of the best. And then there was this expectation also to perform on the court. And yeah, at some point, tennis is such a demanding sport on its own, so technical. It's so easy to just give up and like not come next day because like you understand you suck every day. Like you can spend enormous an amount of time just to be mediocre. And as a kid, I think it's very difficult, and especially if you have demanding coach, parents who expect a lot, and I don't know, just everyone watches you doing sports. It's a lot of pressure for kids, and not many can do it, I guess. And long term, I was like, okay, I'm doing well at school, so I'll just get my way out of tennis. And that's something I kind of regretted, but now I don't regret it anymore.
Yeah, because you've found your way back to tennis. But I want to go back to 2017, 2018, whatever it was, and the war in Ukraine breaks out. And, I can only imagine, I can't even imagine what it's like when your country where you live is under attack. And at one point, did you realize, like, it's not safe for me here? I have to get out of here?
Right. So actually, like in my world, war started was like full invasion because, like, of course, it was happening much earlier, but it wasn't affecting the whole country and like day to day life of everyone. Like during Corona times, I moved to Kiev, to our capital, and there, like, slowly, I started playing again, and yeah, it was fine till 2022 February. But it was kind of obvious that it's about to start because the army was like around the borders and everyone was freaking out. So that's like this moment when you're like somewhere between anxiety and hoping for the best. but unfortunately, sometimes you may just not influence the situation at all. And then, like, I still remember the day. I wake up at 5 a.m. My friend was at my place like till 3 a.m. because I had like anxiety and I was like, oh my God, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. What do I do? And she was there calming me down till 3 a.m. And I was like, okay, it's not going to happen. And I went to sleep and then I wake up at 5 a.m. My dad is calling me from our hometown and he says, okay, the war started. They are here. Our city is fully occupied. And then, like, I hear alerts, and then that's, like, the moment when everything changes and everything you thought was a problem, you're like, "Oh my god." Like, I can influence something until I can. It's not a problem anymore, you know?
Yeah. So when you realize like, okay, it's here and you have to decide what kind of went through your mind and what kind of plan did you have in place or, how quickly were you able to get out of Ukraine?
Actually, like, I had a 2 friends, so I don't have driver's license, and you can imagine if something like that happens, public transport doesn't work.
Yeah.
And it was quite predictable that the capital would be the target and all the forces would go in there. So my first thought, okay, I need to get out. Because who knows what happens. And my 2 friends who I had agreement with in case this happens, they take the car and we drive together to the west. They said, oh, we're staying. And I'm like, "Oh my god, what do I do?
What do
I
you
I
mean?
cannot drive. Do I walk? Like, buses are not working, nothing working." And then, I was just very lucky at that point of the time. I was, working in a venture capital, company, and the only asset they had was, like, people. So they did a crazy job. They organized buses, and they just, like, in 2, 3 days, they could afford just, like, sending all the people from capital and then other regions to the west where it was, like, safer because it's harder to get. And in the first day, I was like, "Oh my god, should I go? Should I not?" Because then you have this intrusive thoughts, "Okay, I'm going by bus, nowhere. What if, like, I don't know, I just die middle of the road because something is flying into the bus and
Yeah.
everyone is going somewhere?" So it's like normally from Kiev to West by car it would be 6 hours and it took 24 hours to
Oh
get
my
there
god.
because everyone was leaving Poland, Romania, etc. And yeah, I it was like a risk to take. Like either you stay and you risk to get a bomb into your house or you risk to die somewhere midway. But again, it's like first day, nobody knows what to expect. Now that people are living in this, they know that the chances were still quite good for me. But I had a crazy situation. I was with my colleague, so she left on the left bank, and it was mostly like the most impacted during the first day. And I told her, hey, come to me because I'm like very centered. And then I was persuading her to come with me to join the bus, the shuttle. And then she agreed. And midway, a bomb flew exactly into her flat.
Oh,
And this moment when you're like, oh my God, it was just somebody's life just like this. And and this person is now sitting next to me thanks to this, you know, persuasion. Because I don't know, it felt just intuitively right to do so.
yeah. Oh my gosh. I mean,
Yeah.
what a relief for everybody. I mean, for her to, to just escape that narrowly. I mean, I can't imagine what that is like to have to, worry about, your home being attacked like that and to just narrowly escape because somebody was like, "Hey, why don't you come with me?" That's incredible.
Yeah, and then we reached the West, and our company where I was working, they rented the whole hotel and like they accommodated people. They also supported a lot and like let the employees to bring their parents, relatives, whatever. They are really great for that, and I would always be very thankful. If I could give kudos to them, it was Genesis.
Okay.
They're a big fundraiser and venture builder in Ukraine. They are doing great stuff. And people wise, like what it when it comes to humanity, they did crazy thing and also operations wise. But anyway, I was there in the hotel like maybe a day or so, and I was like, I cannot handle it. Like I cannot just be somewhere in between. And this hotel was like 30 minutes away by car from Romanian border. Just like, damn, like, how do I get there? Like I cannot just go through the
Yeah.
forest on my own. Oh, and then like everything like every I don't know 100 meter there was like a control, who gets in, who gets out, what are the people. So you just kind of randomly do stuff. And then I have overheard next day that somebody's going to take a taxi. And I was like, okay, whoever you are, I'm coming with you. Like
Coming with you.
random taxi, random person. It costed like $100 or something to just drive, somebody drive. Because again, it's, I don't know, somebody is also apparently was risking life. And then we made it happen. And I still remember the night before, I was like, okay, either I'm gonna die somewhere in the forest because I don't know who the driver is, or it's gonna work. And I took the risk, and then we made it to the border. Oh my God, it's such a crazy story after all. Because we made it to the border, we crossed it on foot, and then we were in Romania. And this girl who was with me, she had an ex who was from UK, and he flew from UK to drive us to the middle of Romania. I think it was Cluj-Napoc. Maybe I mispronounce it. And I still don't remember this drive much. I think it was too traumatic because imagine person from UK
Yeah.
living for the first time in Europe. Through mountains, through everything. And sometimes he forgets which side he was supposed to
Yeah.
drive. So it was quite an adventure. And then my sister is based in Canada. She migrated a long time ago, and she had connection. So people she knew had relatives there, and they hosted me for one night. And then I also had like long-term relationships with my ex-German boyfriend, and he told me, "Hey, come over." And then next day I was already in Germany, so I flew from Romania to Germany. And that's like crazy story that happened like in 3 days. So the from the very start till coming to Germany. I feel like I'm extremely lucky to be working with the company that where I was working, having this long distance relationship, having just like being around at the right place at the right time with right people. And then like I have barely seen the war. So everything that I like heard was just like attacks, the alarm, and that's it. Because like, for example, my mom, she was in Kherson 6 months under occupation, and she heard like there were like six tanks around our house shooting, and she couldn't leave the house because like, what do you do? So I feel extremely privileged to not have seen what other people have gone through.
Yeah, I mean, your instincts kind of seem to be on point the whole way, and you had 2 choices a couple of different times of, like, should I do this or that? And, your instincts carried you to a safe place, and to I mean, for all of that to happen in 3 days, I mean, what is it like when you get to Germany and you're like, do you feel, like, relief? Are you just still, like, kind of just in shock of the whole thing? What's your mind like at that point?
No, I was definitely in shock, and like then you bump into red tape first of all, because like Germany is super bureaucratic. And then I mean I learned I learned German at school, but like I haven't used it, so I couldn't
Yeah.
do much on my own. And then everything is new. I'm like, what the hell is just happening with my life? I'm still working online remotely. Like the business we were doing is for tier ones, so US, Europe, etc. So for rest of the world, life doesn't stop, right? And you still like continue on working. And it was just like, I don't know, survival mode where you just go and do things. And yeah, first I was settling down, and like my ex hosted me, and his family took care of me, and like step by step I got the documents, and then I also understood that I need to change the job because I cannot be working for Ukraine and living in Germany because it's like double taxation, etc. So it was like, what's next? And just like trying to understand the plan. I didn't expect to stay in Germany. I was thinking to go to Canada to my sister, but a very funny story happened. I didn't have visa, and even though such situation happened, still the visa was extremely important for them to have. And while I was doing visa, I know that like German migration office gave me the documents that I am not allowed to leave the country till I receive the next type of document. And I was like, okay, how much is it gonna take? Like months? It took 1 year and a half to
Oh
get
my
the
gosh.
document. So even though already got Canadian visa, I couldn't go to Canada, and that's how I stayed in Germany at the first place. And yeah, it was absolutely insane. And also then it was very difficult to find my ways here to get the job because I guess for Germans it was hard to estimate what does it mean to work with Ukrainian, because I think many people perceive Ukraine as this like third world country. Sorry for that, but that was my expectation when they talked to me. And they were like, I, by the way, also in Ukraine, I worked in Deloitte as like a accountant and business consultant. So I do have a very solid background. And nevertheless, when I was applying for jobs, rejection, rejection, rejection. And then somebody told me maybe it's because you don't have German experience and they just like don't understand what to expect. And yeah, that's how I went from a manager in startup where I was doing crazy stuff like, I don't know, operations, product management, management of like teachers crew. It was at tech company. I went to an intern position and it was like massive downgrade. And if at the startup I was doing some fun things, I went back to financial industry because I had like more experience and it was easier to get in. And then I did internship in Volkswagen. And after that, I already landed at the position where I'm now since 3 years, and where I'm having lots of fun. But it was like a very, very rocky way to like get the position that you're comfortable with and to prove people that, hey, we're actually worth it. We're good employees, we're working hard, and yeah.
Yeah, just overnight you go from being this established person in the workforce, you have a career, you've climbed the ladder. I looked at your LinkedIn, you have a very impressive resume.
Thank you.
But yeah, it's you can and then just like that, you're back to the beginning and you have to start completely over. How old are you at this time?
24.
24. So you
I'm
kind of
always have to think about it, huh? Me, honest, life stopped like during COVID and then during the war. Am I 19? No, I'm like 20, 25, 24.
yeah, I mean, here in the US, it's like COVID put a lot of stuff on hold and kind of shook up the world, shook up everybody's kind of routine, but I can't imagine getting through that and then dealing with what you had to right after that. It's like, do you feel like you finally reached a point of like some normalcy in a day to day?
Yeah, for sure, for sure. It was also like a lot of effort put into that to get into my ways and to build life here again from scratch. Because I didn't know anyone here. I only had like my ex-boyfriend and like all my friends were in Ukraine or somewhere spread in the world. I didn't have my hobbies because like again, in Ukraine I had very established nice life. I had very lavish lifestyle where I could like play tennis a lot, meet friends, go out, build career. I had everything sorted. And yeah, here it was just like, you're no one, you don't have documents, you cannot leave the country. But we will not even employ you because you're like not from here. And sorry, you don't speak German, so now it's your problem. But now at this point, I already have C1 certificate. I did it last year. Um, have good job. I'm back to doing my hobbies. And
Yes.
I have lots of friends and a good social circle, but it was like really a lot of effort that I put into it. I know many people who like still live off like social welfare, who don't speak the language and they just, follow the flow and they don't break their patterns.
That's gotta, I mean, living like that's just gotta be tough. You don't have like a true life. You're just
Surviving
existing.
all the time.
Exactly, surviving. So we mentioned that you kind of had lost your love for tennis at a young age because of the pressure. You had just kind of started playing again when the war broke out, correct? And you
Just straight before.
just right
So
before. So how kind of did you find your way, back into the tennis scene once you kind of settled in Germany?
that was very, very tough. That's another fantastic story that's really insane. I was trying to find people to play with like 2 years without any results. First 2 years it was like so many blockers. So in Germany, I don't know how it's in US, but in Germany they have very unnecessary complex system where you have to be a part of the club. You have to pay membership and then yeah, even like they have tournaments and everything is super complicated. You cannot treat it anywhere clearly, super vague, etc. And I was like, no, I cannot commit to a club. And also, honestly, it was expensive. Like I wasn't earning much. Like first 2 years, it was just settling down. And then I was like, okay, I can just find people to play with. And then in Ukraine, there are like I don't know, some chats, communities you can just join and like explain what your experience like and easily find people. Here, zero. And I was like, how come? And then I started finding some strange websites where like, it felt like they're from 2000. The interface didn't change at all. And then I like wrote a post like, hey, I'm looking for people. And then it's like awkward moment when you're a young pretty girl, you receive whatever, just like bullshit messages like, hey, you're pretty, let's
Yeah,
play
yeah.
ball. And I'm like, that's not what I wanted. Thank you for nothing. And then somehow somebody was like, there is like a WhatsApp community group. Let me add you. And I was like, sure. And in this WhatsApp community group, there was a Ukrainian girl and she texted me. She was like, oh, let's go and play. And then we never made it somehow. And she was like, I saw you told that you play much better than I am. I know another girl, same name. She would be a good opponent for you. I was like, okay, cool. Give me contact. And then we started playing with her. And at first, I sucked so much. It was so bad. It was so embarrassing. But the best part, she was in the same position. She was also Ukrainian who was trying to build her life again from scratch. Then once we were playing like once a week, 2 weeks, so not that often. And then once we were playing somewhere in Waldau in the club where I'm playing now, and I saw like two guys playing very well. I was like, wait a second, we'll have a look and they were just warming up, and just by the warm up you could have seen that they're good. And I was like, should we like come to them and ask if they want to play doubles with us? And she was like, sure. And that's how we met the guys. And then we played double. It was a disaster. Like they were two times better than we were, and it was very stressful situation for me. But in the end, maybe that's part of my personality. I can overcome the stress, and like if I see the potential for growth, I'll kind of make it happen. So I texted, "Hey, it was cool game, everyone. Does somebody want to play 101?" And one of these guys, he was like, "Okay, let's play." But he was much much better. I think he just found sympathy in like in my approach and my passion that I really wanted. And he kind of picked me up, just like free coaching or something. He told me, so allegedly, he used to be top 10 in Belgium in his like young ages. He's not that old, he's 30 now, but anyway, like in tennis life, young
Yeah, oh,
age,
yeah.
like
That's over the hill, 30?
yeah. And then we started playing like weekly, and I started gaining back like the technique and the speed. And he was like, why don't you play tournaments, kind of tournaments? He was like, oh, there is this website, you can register and then you play with random people and then you can meet new partners. It's like, okay, let's do it. And then next time I come, I'm like, there are only men. There are no women tournaments. He was like, so what? You can beat them. They're all bad. You can beat them. And I was like, do you think so? He was like, yeah, sure. And that's what I have done. I have registered and then I started playing again against men in like Herren Liga, so man Liga. And like just overnight, I also became quite famous in Stuttgart because people don't expect a woman to come to a man competition in tennis. And then I made very quickly connections to people who were good and like nice to play with and to talk to. We like kept on playing from time to time. And then I was like, hey, if you know someone cool, connect me. And that's how I made like pretty a lot of connections. And I was still like thinking about entering the club because if you want to progress, you still have to go to training. And there was this club, Waldau. There we have the first Bundesliga, so like number one team in Germany for female players. And I was like, oh my God, it's such a dream to get there and to play there. But it's like, as you can guess, super expensive. So they were doing a day of open doors and I came there just to check it out. And then they saw like this burning eyes because I played like 4 hours and then I met someone and they're like, you play cool, let's play more. And I was like, okay, let's play another 2 hours. And they're like, we want you. We want you to be a part of our club. And they made me like a special offer so I could afford it. And that's how I joined the club. And yeah, then it's just like kept on escalating. But technically, circling back, it started with like this tedious search of the opportunity and just like not giving up. And then, some magic happens and like you end up at the right place with right people at the right time.
And then just the momentum keeps building and you keep, this person introduces you to this person and look at where you've ended up. That's amazing.
Yeah, exactly.
So I want to switch into kind of how I found you, and that's your content creation and your Instagram. When did you kind of start, putting tennis content online?
I actually didn't do it much. So I was just like putting stories so people know I'm doing tennis. And then with time, I just started recording how I play, also for the sake of like analysis. I'm also doing dancing, and in dancing, if you want to progress fast, you have to see yourself from the side.
Hmm.
It doesn't matter how good or bad it looks. Most of the time, it doesn't look good, but it's a fast tool. And I started recording myself, and sometimes it looked very nice. And I was like, oh, I actually have also like humor and like fun personality. I could do something more out of it, but I didn't plan anything big. And then I was just posting stories. And then at certain point, I had a lot of material. And then we also have one influencer in Stuttgart. He's the only one tennis influencer. And I was like, hey, Sandra, do you want to do a challenge together, like a surf challenge? And that was, I think, the first reel we posted. It was just super fun. We like spent 3 hours trying to hit a chocolate Santa Claus with the surf. And yeah, we didn't have any expectations. We just recorded, he edited, and boom. And I was like, okay, we did it for Christmas. Let's do something for Valentine's Day and then blah, blah, blah. And in the meantime, when we were discussing the challenge for Valentine's Day, my boyfriend, who is now also is my coach, he's like, you are doing something on the Valentine's Day without me? Let's also record a video. And I was like, sure. And then I recorded one and I posted it on TikTok first, and it went like 70, 100K. I was like, what? Wait, what? And I was like, okay, that's the sign. And then I was like, Sandra, let's do it. Let's produce more content. And then we posted and it doesn't go up. I'm like, okay, maybe it's not fun. Maybe we're doing something wrong. Maybe the picture is bad. Cause like, honestly, aesthetically, I'm not good. I'm very rational, structured, but like everything that comes to like beautiful picture, colors, no, not talented at all. And I was like, "So I don't know, what should we do?" And then, yeah, I just like started posting whatever what I saw is funny, at least for me and for people who know me closely. And I didn't have any expectations. Of course, it's like, it's really addictive when you get so much attention and you're like seeking for it, like, oh, I want more and more. How do I repeat this experience? But at a certain point, I kind of calmed down. And then we have two tennis brands here in Stuttgart. One is Ace and Clay. They produce very cool like t-shirts and hoodies and really cool guys. So if you can check them out. So I know them. And then the second one is MoveMate, the video that went viral. So it's like, yeah, I can do videos for you because I just know the guys personally and I like what they're doing and just for fun. So when we were recording those videos, we didn't think that it would go so viral, that it would escalate. We just like, I finished my work and then I was like, okay, I'll be in 5 minutes, like there and there. We spent like 1 hour recording. I practiced a bit to hit the ball. And then they posted first on TikTok and then it went like 600K. And before the content that they posted was 20K, 30. They're like, wow, okay. I don't know what, but there is something special about you that people like. I was like, yeah, I also don't know. Like, it's crazy. And then I posted the first one and it went like 5 million. So I was like, my God, like, how come? Like, what did I do right this time? I really want to know. And then they were like, okay, it's time. It was maybe like 1 week distance between first and second video. And they're like, okay, when let's try again. Let's post something else. And then I was like, okay, I'll take care of it. And then I post it, and then I see that it's already like 1 or 5 million in the first day. And then it escalated, like, as of now, it's, I don't know, almost 50. And
It's crazy.
yeah, 48 million. And then at like some point, my Instagram starts to explode. So you can imagine if you're just like a normal person who has never been an influencer, you're not ready for this exposure. Because then everyone started texting so many comments. Like at first, I was like trying to check the comments or reply because somebody put an energy, right? Somebody was interested and left their impression, which I always appreciate because it's an exchange. Then I was like, oh my God. And then I'm still like back to back. I'm working full time. I have 2 trainings a day, which is like dance and tennis. I have like my life. I have my partner. So and then it's like this spam at your face.
Yep. That's crazy. Yeah, it is trying to keep up with everything at first and you're like, "Oh, this is so fun." And then it's like then a wave hits and it's like, "I can't possibly keep up with all of this."
Exactly. And then I was like, wow, okay, my ADHD will enter a new level, refocus next level. But then it actually de escalated already now. So it was like massive for maybe first 3 days. Now it's like manageable with the notifications and messages. But then I kind of felt disappointed that it's like not the same anymore.
Mhm.
This is like exactly this moment when you're like, okay, I got so much attention. How do I get it back? Like, how do I replicate this experience? And you start analyzing what have I done correctly, what not. And also like now I had like 1 and 2K followers. Now I have almost 10. I'm like, this Instagram is still representing me as a person. What am I supposed to do? Because I'm a reckless person. I don't care what I post. It can be something super cringe, but because it was like relatively small circle, or yeah, it's like,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, for me it was relatively small circle of people who was watching, and I could have been crazy and do authentic Elena stuff. And I'm like, can I still post like me walking in like strip shoes on the court and like people would appreciate this content? And there are like a lot of questions and self-reflections popping up, like about you and like, what do you want to say to the world? Because now you have this attention and you have responsibility, right?
Yeah, how are you kinda dealing with that? Because I think even since we first started talking. I feel like you've gotten like another 1,000 followers just in the couple days that we've trying to been putting this together. How do you deal with kind of, trying to stay authentic to who you are, but also like trying to, you want to put out stuff that people want to see?
Yeah. So in the end of the day, I don't care if people unfollow. I had this moment, I reached 10K, and then I posted it for close friends, like, hey, I'm famous, blah, blah, blah. And then, yeah, I check 1 hour later and it's like 8 and 5K. Like, who was it? Like,
Oh
tell
yeah,
me,
yeah.
you are happy for me, but not genuinely, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And then it turns out maybe I learned that there are like some bots and maybe those
Mhm.
were bots and they got cleaned. I don't know. And at first I was disappointed. And that's how I thought, okay, what I'm posting and what I want to represent. And I really want to post whatever I feel like. Like if I want to post something crazy that represents my personality, I'll do. If people unfollow, feel free to, because again, I truly believe that we are so unique and great who we are, and there will be always audience who would appreciate it. I also try to analyze like what people found catchy about me, because there are like so many tennis videos, there are so many professionals who create great picture, who do everything correctly, who do better technique, etc. But there was something special that touched people and spoke to them, so I would just like keep on doing what I'm doing. And, like, if people don't like it, it's fine.
I think that it's probably the relatability of the content that you put out because, like, for me, like, I follow a lot of golfers, and there's people that they're as talented as pros, they're, like, just, like, 1% less, and they put out these very professional videos, and I'm like, I'd rather watch somebody who is, like, more still way better than me, but it's like that is looks more attainable, or that looks real, or that looks like something that I would do. There's like a relatability aspect to it. And I feel like your video in the driveway, hitting the ball, by yourself and hitting it and it, comes back and like the people walking by on the street and, cheering you on. Like I feel like there's something genuine about that, I am more interested in that than just like watching professionals just serve back and forth in this like, you know, very pristine, environment and everything looks kind of like almost fake because it's so good or so, like, next level, but, yours is much more genuine, relatable content.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for sharing, and I hope to stick to that. I mean, I honestly am so busy, you can imagine, because like, I'm doing full-time job and, keeping up with all of these hobbies, so I don't even, like, have energy to try to be someone I'm not. I would rather do another dance class.
Yeah. No, I think that that's something that you should keep is just being yourself, and that's, what's the point of, all the following and all the whatever, the attention if it's like, at the end of the day, you're like, "That's not even who I am, they like somebody else."
Exactly. And I think that's something that many people miss. Because every time I go like on Insta, even though I see great pictures, I don't see soul in it and like what the person is like.
Mhm.
So I really want to translate, to broadcast my personality further.
Yeah, and I think I'm happy that you came on and were able to kinda share a little bit about yourself and I mean, amazing story. It's, every level of, your kind of journey just shows, the kind of person you are. So I'm glad that, we'll have this out to for people to see like a different side of you besides the content.
Yeah, thank you so much for inviting me and spotting me. I feel very honored, and I hope that my story also motivates someone to get back to tennis, to get back to hobby they gave up on as kids, to generally follow their passion and staying true to themselves despite the circumstances. Uh, yeah, always fight for it and follow your intuition, because sometimes it leads you to a good place despite
I
the
can't
odds.
I couldn't have said it better myself, and I think that's a perfect way to wrap this up. Elena, this has been so much fun. Why don't you let people know where they can follow you and follow your tennis journey?
Sure, sure. I guess you can share my link or
I'll put it in the description for sure.
okay, cool, cool. Thank you so much for inviting me and having me here.
Of course, it was great talking to you, Elena. Good luck, and we will talk again soon.
Thank you. See ya.